Hello and welcome to the commentary for my Postal 1 excess postage any percent world record run as of August 25th, 2019. This is a speedrun of the excess postage campaign, which includes the 16 levels in the main campaign, the 4 levels in the DLC special delivery, and the 2 Japanese exclusive levels from Super Postal. Now, the goal in each level in Postal is there are a certain amount of hostiles, and you have to kill enough for the percentage of each level. For instance, this level, you have to kill 90%, as you can see on the top. I've killed 61%, I have to reach 90. Once you reach that percentage, you can hit F1, and that will take you to the next level. The run starts the moment we're able to move in this level home, and the run ends when I hit F1 at the end of the last level, which in this category is Osaka, and we see the opening screen for the unplayable level at the end, the elementary school, which is basically a cutscene, which leads into another cutscene, which leads to the credits. So, now this run is a little weird. Well, this game in general, speedrunning it, is a little weird because we don't use any glitches at all. We don't use any glitches, except for, like, there's one glitch we know of, but we don't really use it. I don't use it. I've used it a couple times, but the other runner, Epica, he uses it a lot. Which this glitch involves the counter. When you set people on fire, they will run around on fire a little bit, then they'll fall onto the ground, and after a few seconds, they will be pronounced dead, and they will be added to the counter of killed hostiles. Now, after they run around on fire a little bit and they fall to the ground, for some reason the game counts them as dead, but the counter on the top doesn't count them as dead. So if you're at, let's say, 80%, and you've killed 78%, and there's one person on fire on the ground, and you hit F1, the game will think you have 80% and will take you to the next level, even though the counter says 78%. Now, I can't do this because the F1 key, the key you use to go to the next level, I also have that as my split key. So, because, I hit the F1 key, takes me to the next level, and also changes my split, right? But Epica, he does not use splits. So, he can just spam the F1 key until the game says he can move on, even if the counter doesn't say he can move on. And yeah, I can't use that because the moment I hit the F1 key, my split changes. So if I hit the F1 key and the game doesn't allow me to move on to the next level, well then that run is pronounced dead. So there is that glitch. I don't use it. I might use it in the future if I figure out a different way to do my splits. Yeah. Now, I'm going to talk about the guns here. The first gun you get at the beginning of the game is the machine gun. Now, the machine gun, it has infinite ammo, and it has a very long range, but it does horrible damage, and it takes a very long time to kill someone. So, we try to minimize our use with that gun. We only use it if, we're out of ammo for literally everything else, and we just have to get through as quick as possible. You see me using it right here because I have no rocket launcher ammo. Now, at the beginning of the game, the game is harder at the beginning than it is at the end, because at the beginning we don't have a lot of weapons, we don't have a lot of ammo to work with, so we have to just mostly utilize tricks like grenades, the Molotovs, the flame technique, the shotgun, and the machine gun. Now the shotgun, it's an oddity, right? It can be considered a good gun, it could not be considered a good gun. For instance, sometimes it will kill someone in 2 shots like there, but sometimes it will decide to take 5 shots to kill someone. It's very unreliable when it comes to how many shots it takes to ground someone. I have no idea why this is. Epica believes it is due to enemy health being varied. I believe it's just due to gun damage being RNG. We haven't figured that out yet. Epica is the only other active speedrunner of this game. We work together with our runs, sharing tricks and such. Now, the next gun on the list, I guess I'll talk about the grenades. The grenades, you lob them, they blow up, pretty simple. But angling the grenade, getting the arc just right so that it lands where an enemy is to actually kill them, it takes a little bit of time. It takes like half a second to line up, and that can be considered a waste of time. So we only use grenades. Technically, grenades do save time over the machine gun, but that's about it. They don't save time over many other guns. So we use grenades mostly at the beginning of the run, not so much near the end. The other weapon, the other throwable that we use is the Molotov. Now the Molotov is basically the same thing. You gotta angle it, you gotta arc it, make sure it hits your target. If it doesn't, that's a waste of time, waste of a Molotov. But it has a bit of a, bit more range because it doesn't just blow up in one little spot. It has, a whole little fire thing, right? Now fire is your best friend in this game. When it comes to speedrunning, that is. I have never seen another game where I've wanted to set myself on fire so much for so often, and I've never had a game where I get pissed whenever I'm no longer on fire. That is because in this game, we play this game on the easiest difficulty, easy 1. There's like a difficulty slider that's like 1 to 11, and we play it on 1. In this game, when you set yourself on fire, whoever you touch will also be set on fire. And you don't actually lose a lot of health from being on fire. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll just lob a Molotov at a wall, set ourselves on fire, and then just try our best to set everyone near us on fire and set as many people as we can on fire. And if we are no longer on fire, we may touch someone that we've already set on fire to set ourselves on fire again, sort of chaining that fire for as long as we can. Sometimes in the DLC, when we run the DLC alone, not with the main campaign, that we don't have any endgame weapons, right? Because we play the DLC after we finish the main campaign in excess postage. So we have weapons when we do the DLC, but when we run the DLC alone, we don't have any weapons. So the first level of Special Delivery, we will do the entire level with just the flame technique. That's what I call it. The flame technique. We don't really have a real name for it. Sometimes it's called the Molotov technique. You'll see me using it a lot in this level right here. I will purposely set myself on fire, because fire, the moment an enemy is on fire, they will no longer not be on fire until they are dead. Fire, once an enemy is on fire, they are pronounced, you cannot save them. They cannot save themselves. They are going to be dead in about 5 seconds. So, it's extremely useful. I don't think it's as useful in the remake of the game, because fire kills you a lot more quicker. Kills you in like 5 to 10 seconds. So it's not that much viable. But in this game, it's very viable as a technique. Now, there is a mechanic in this game called executing. So sometimes when you shoot an enemy, they'll fall into the ground. You can see right there in the bottom left, that guy's crawling. I shot him, and I grounded him, but he's not technically dead. Sometimes when an enemy falls to the ground, they don't die. They'll still be alive. We call them crawlers, and they'll just crawl on the ground for a little bit, for about 5 seconds, until they bleed out and are dead, and get added to the counter. When an enemy is crawling, they are not considered dead by the game. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to walk over them and hit X to execute them, so that you can kill them quicker than they bleed out. Problem is, this little executing animation Takes about 3 seconds to do. So, and that's a huge waste of time. When you have a lot of crawlers and you start executing all of them, it's a big waste of time. So you will see me execute about 1 person in this run towards the end. That's about it, because we really don't like executing. The goal is to have no crawlers, so that we don't have to wait for them to bleed out at the end of the level or start executing them. We want enemies to be dead. You can see me using the flame technique again. It's very common to use when you don't have a lot of ammo, but you have a lot of Molotovs. Now, when it comes to enemies, you got your shooters, you got your shotgunners. Some of them are female. That one's female that I'm chasing right now with the flame. The blonde ones are females. You got your brown shirt guys, you got your blue shirt guys, you got your rocket launcher dude, who I just shot right there. You got your explosive guys that throw either Molotovs or grenades. And that's about it, pretty much. Now, the brown shirt guys die quicker than the blue shirt guys or the females. Or the rocket launcher guys. Rocket launcher guys can either use regular rockets or heat sinking. I haven't even talked about missile launcher. The missile launcher. Now, the missile launcher is one of the more useful guns in the game. You get it early, in like the 3rd level, and ammo for it is pretty plenty. You don't want to use it constantly, but you can use it pretty throughout the run. Now, there's two ammo types for it. There's regular missiles, which you can have 15 of, and then there's heat sinking. Regular missiles do exactly what it sounds like. You shoot them and they go in the direction that you shoot. Now, sometimes they drift a little bit. They'll drift to the left to where you actually were aiming, so you got to compensate for that a little bit. Heat sinking, now, it will go towards enemies, but it will also go towards civilians. Now, it's okay to kill civilians, but we don't really want to because we'd rather spend our time killing enemies. That kill percentage, is only for hostiles, not civilians. Civilians basically get in the way of this speedrun. So we want to avoid them and just kill regular enemies. You'll see me just, civilians will run right in front of me and take my bullets, and that pisses me off because it's a waste of time. Now, so when you're using the heat-sinking missiles, you gotta be a little careful to make sure that the closest human to you is an enemy and not a civilian, because they will go after that civilian. Also, since it's a heat-sinking missile, it will go after fire. So that's a little bit problematic. If you're shooting and there's a fire nearby, it'll just go after that. So again, you just have to be careful when using a heat-sinking missile that it's gonna hit the target that you want it to hit. Now, one of the most important aspects of this run is picking up ammo. Because you don't want to be at the end of the game and all you have is shotgun ammo. And a couple grenades, and you got no missiles or anything like that, right? Because you want a lot of missiles, you want a lot of flamethrower ammo, you want a lot of shotgun ammo, stuff like that, right? Because if you could just use the flamethrower, I'll talk about the flamethrower in a bit, but if you could just use that gun throughout the entire run and never have to swap out any weapons, you could probably cut off 10 minutes from this run right there. But you can't, because in this level right here, the train level, this is actually the first level you can get the flamethrower. You can pick up ammo for it a little bit earlier, but this is the earliest point you can get the flamethrower. And we won't be using it for a while because we want to conserve that ammo. You see right there, I actually just used the napalm launcher. The napalm launcher is just like a grenade, just like a Molotov, I'm sorry. Except you don't lob it, you just shoot it. It's not really useful because we could always just use a Molotov. But you'll see me use it occasionally when I'm too lazy to just, aim a Molotov. I don't want to, take the time to arc it, so I'll just use the napalm launcher near the end of the game. But anyways, picking up ammo is very important. You gotta know the ammo placements throughout the entire game. You gotta know where all the missiles are. You gotta know where all the flamethrower ammo is. You gotta know where all the weapon pickups are. Because that's very important to going faster. Because I remember when my record for the main campaign was like 28 minutes, and the world record was like 26 minutes, I was like, I don't know how to save time here. I don't know how to get my time down. Until I realized I wasn't picking up enough ammo. And I wasn't using the end game weapons enough. Not as much as I should. So I started doing that, bam, shaved 5 minutes off my run instantly. Now my main campaign record is 22:51 instead of like 28:36. Now, also another aspect, as well as memorizing where ammo is, you have to memorize where the enemies are. Because you don't want to spend 30 seconds, running around being, where's the last 3 enemies that I need to kill? I'm like at 68%, and I gotta get to 90, but where are the enemies? You gotta know where everyone is, and that's not too hard. When you run this game over and over again, you sort of get used to where everyone is, the exact enemy types that are in each location, where they all are, so you can just pick them up one by one. And you'll see right here, I'm using the flamethrower, actually. So this is a good time to talk about the flamethrower. The flamethrower is the best gun in the game, hands down, because you can just spam the flamethrower and set everyone on fire. You don't have to worry about chaining the flame technique. You don't have to worry about lobbing a Molotov or shooting a napalm launcher. You don't gotta worry about losing health. You don't gotta worry about chasing down enemies. You can just spray and pray with the flamethrower. Problem is, it chews through flamethrower ammo very quickly, and flamethrower ammo is very rare. So we can only use it on special occasions, but I felt like using it here, which, again, saves a lot of time when just using the flamethrower. Don't gotta machine gun enemies down, don't gotta lob grenades, even though the missile launcher kills enemies with one hit, it still takes a while to, you gotta stop moving and actually shoot the missile launcher, which may not sound like a lot, but it's a flamethrower. You can just run and gun. You don't have to stop to shoot the flamethrower. You can see I'm just running around shooting it. With the missile launcher, you actually have to stop dead in your tracks in order to fire it. And that takes like half a second per enemy, which is no bueno, right? Now, what else? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you probably noticed it by now, but I'll just say it here. There's about 3 or 4 levels in this game. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's 3. Could be 4. There's like 3 or 4 levels in this game that are top-down and not isometric like you see right here, right? It's the train, the bridge, the factory complex, and the factory complex is going to be right after this. Those are all the ones I can remember. But I don't know why they designed it like that, but that's just something to know. Okay, I just picked up the auto shotgun right now. The auto shotgun is, I'd say, the second best gun in this game. It uses the same ammo as the regular shotgun, except it has the firing rate of a machine gun. It's actually higher than the stock machine gun in this game. And it absolutely decimates enemies. You can just absolutely burn through them with the auto shotgun. Problem is, just like the flamethrower, it chews through ammo like there's no tomorrow. I'd say if you held down the auto shotgun with about 100 shells, which is the max amount, you would run out of ammo in, I'd say, 15 seconds. So you really have to conserve your auto shotgun ammo. You gotta conserve your flamethrower ammo. It's just as much about conserving ammo as it is about finding them. You can see me, I'm actually chaining the flame right here. In order, I stopped it because I realized I don't really need to, because I have a lot of rockets, I got a lot of shotgun ammo, and I got enough flamethrower ammo to, survive. Now, I'm pretty sure that's all the weapons. Yeah, that's all the weapons. I forgot. Landmines. We don't use landmines. We never use landmines. They're useless. They have no purpose. I never even use them when I play this game casually. Absolute garbage. You pick them up. You can see I have, in the bottom right, 10 landmines. There's 3 types. They all share the same ammo pool. Never use them. Ever. I don't think I've ever used one in general, other than for, like, getting the achievement for using all the weapons. It's just a waste of time. Don't ever use landmines, casual or competitive. Absolute waste of time. Oh, I forgot to mention turrets in this game. You've probably seen me blowing up a few turrets here and there. Turrets, there's machine gun turrets, rocket turrets, heat-sinking rocket turrets, and flamethrower turrets. There's like one flamethrower turret in this entire game. It's in Osaka. Yep, you see right there, I just blew them up. Now, turrets, they're not a big deal. In regular levels and the DLC levels, you can actually set them on fire. Flamethrower will take them out. And a Molotov will take them out. Touching them while on fire won't take them out. But you wouldn't want that to happen because you would blow up anyways. You don't want to be near them when they blow up. Blowing up this game wastes like 3 seconds. So you never want to be near a barrel when it blows up. You never want to be near a grenade, stuff like that, right? In the Japanese levels, in the 2 Super Postal levels, turrets can't be set on fire. And they can't be shot with like a shotgun to blow up. You have to use an explosive. I don't know why. It's very strange. I don't know why they designed it like that, but I'm just sure it was the level designers in Japan not communicating with the Americans, stuff like that, right? Now, you'll see here, my philosophy with this game is, if you're not killing, you're losing time, because if you don't have the most optimal pathway when doing a level, you're going to spend a lot of time running from point A to point B just so you can kill the last few enemies. And when you're just running and doing nothing else and not shooting or anything like that, if you're just running to a different place, you're wasting time. The ideal route for each level is a route... You see right there, my heat-sinking missile just went to the flame. The ideal route for each level should be you should never waste time running. You should be constantly killing, constantly bringing the kill count up. Because the quicker you kill enemies, the more enemies you kill in a shorter amount of time, the faster the speedrun is, This is one of those speedruns where it isn't about just getting to the end of the game, point A to point B, and using glitches to just make that distance shorter. We're just playing the game as the game wants us to play it. Just really, really good. I would like to discover glitches for this game, because that would make it, more skillful, but we don't have any, so we're just playing the game as best as we possibly can. Except, I guess setting ourselves on fire wasn't really intended, but hey, what are you gonna do? Now, this is the final level for the main campaign, the Air Force Base. This is my favorite level, because at the beginning, it gives you a crate that gives you like 100 shotgun shells, like 100 flamethrower ammo, crap ton of rockets, so you get to have fun with this level. You get to have absolute fun. And I love it. Now, this level, you've probably seen it before. This level has a lot of enemy closets. That's what I call them. You can see right there, enemies are spawning out of that building. Now, they do that when you get close enough to them. They'll start spawning enemies, right? Now, we're trying to figure out how to get through levels without having enemies spawn. Because that percentage counter at the top... It's only for a percentage of enemies that are, spawn in the game. So let's say it's at 50%, and I go towards an enemy closet, and it spawns like 3 enemies. It'll go down to like 40%. And you have to kill more enemies to add to the counter, and that wastes time. So having enemies not spawn saves time. So we're trying to figure out how to not walk near enemy closets. But the problem is the game will put enemies right next to enemy closets that are already spawned. So we gotta go near the enemy closets to kill those enemies, and that sets off the enemy closets, spawning more enemies, which, is a pain, but we manage. It's not a big deal. It's just sometimes we'll have to just stand around and wait for enemies to spawn, and it's no bueno, because again, when you're not running around killing, it's you're wasting time, right? Now, we just entered the DLC, and as you can see, I have so much flamethrower ammo that I'm just going to run through the DLC using only the flamethrower. Because there's only 4 levels in the DLC, and I have enough ammo in the flamethrower to just not care about ammo conservation. Even though in the DLC, the crates don't give you a lot of flamethrower ammo, or shells for that matter, but they do give you a lot of rockets. Rockets are very plenty in this DLC for some reason, don't know why. Especially for the Japanese levels, I don't think there is a flamethrower in the Japanese levels. I don't actually think there is, because I've never seen it. You get no flamethrower ammo in the Japanese levels, no flamethrower, but you do get a crap ton of rockets. You get the rocket launcher like 2 seconds after spawning in the Japanese levels. It's insane. They really want you to use the rocket launcher in those 2 levels. Like, you could just use the rocket launcher and nothing else, pretty much. Except for, occasionally. Because there's not enough rockets, because there's a lot of enemy closets in the Japanese levels, especially Tokyo, the first level. On the left side of the map, you'll see it. I have to spend about 30 seconds just taking care of, like, 4 enemy closets all in one spot. It's horrible. I wish we could skip it, honestly. Now, right here, you see I shot that turn with a rocket launcher. I'm actually very proud of that shot every time I do it. It's not exactly that hard, it's just arcing the rocket launcher. Excuse me. Arcing the rocket. Because again, I told you, it drifts. So, I don't know why. I'm just always proud of myself whenever I'm able to arc it correctly. You see right there, that was an example of me not knowing how to aim. So yeah, like I told you, we're just breezing through the DLC levels with the flamethrower. Now, by the time we get to the Japanese levels, I'll be pretty low on flamethrower ammo, so we're not going to want to use it as much. We can still use it, just not as much. We just finished the DLC, the Special Delivery DLC, I need to call it. And we're now in the final 2 levels, which is categorized as Super Postal. These last 2 levels are pretty big. The Special Delivery world record is lower than the Super Postal world record. Even though Special Delivery has double the levels, they're very small levels, and each one can get through in, like, gosh, 30, 45 seconds. Very short campaign. But Super Postal, I think the world record's like 251, something around that section. I forgot. But it's longer than Special Delivery, just because these levels are huge. I don't know why. I still don't know why they were even made. They were for the longest time, they were only accessible to the Japanese, came with their copy of the game, along with, sorry, Japanese dubbing of these levels. If you were listening to it, you could actually hear Japanese screaming instead of English screaming. But thankfully, they re-added them back to the American version, both the original and the remake. Because as much as I'm glad these levels are here, they're not my favorite levels. They're so big. You can see this section, just enemies dropping out of the sky, left and right. I gotta take care of so many of them. It's not very fun to just wait for enemies to spawn all over you, and it's like a little arena. And just running around, trying to find enemies to kill. This level especially, I think this might be one of my least favorite levels. No. Train is my least favorite level. It's one of the top-down levels. I hate it so much. But that's the level where you get the flamethrower in the main campaign, so, we gotta be grateful for that. Now, we're about to finish Tokyo here, and go to Osaka, which is the final level for the Excess Postage campaign. If you look at my splits, you'll see that Tokyo and Osaka are in their original Japanese lettering. I just put that there because I thought it looked neat, It's no real purpose for it. I guess newcomers would be confused what those levels are and why they're in Japanese. But, see, right here, I'm just using the auto shotgun mostly because I'm out of flamethrower ammo, and there is no flamethrower ammo in this DLC. So, I'm just relying on the auto shotgun, which thankfully there is enough shotgun ammo in Super Postal to get by, Right there was an example of inconsistent enemy kill. You see, sometimes, most of the time, really, the auto shotgun will kill an enemy in half a second, right? But sometimes, it'll take like 30 shells to kill an enemy, which makes absolutely no sense. I have no idea why it happens. They'll just stand there and freeze. Whenever an enemy freezes still and just doesn't move and doesn't shoot, I swear, their health triples. Makes no sense to me. And I have to burn so much ammo taking care of them. The machine gun does not have this problem for some reason. Machine gun is always it's consistent. I'll give the machine gun that. It's consistent in how long it takes to kill someone. So that was the end. The timer ended when we reached the elementary school, which is an unplayable level. If you, the basic story of the Postal game is that you're crazy, you're killing people, and you basically stop at the elementary school because I guess the message is that he realizes he can't kill children because that's messed up, and he goes insane and he gets locked up in an insane asylum, which is the next cutscene, and that's the end of the game. So that was the Postal Excess Postage any percent speedrun with the time of 29 minutes and 44 seconds. As of recording, the date is August 25th, 2019, and that is the world record. And I hope that you enjoyed watching this. I hope you learned something. And I hope you come back again for my future speedruns, because I will not stop speedrunning this game, no matter how many people ask me. No matter how many people say I'm wasting my time, I'm burning years of my life with this game. Not gonna happen. Nope. I'm not gonna stop until these times get to the bottom. But anyways, yeah, hope that was informative. If you have any questions, please comment down below. I read every single comment, mostly because I only get like 3 ever. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a nice day. I'm just letting the ending cutscene play out here because I thought I would have more things to say at the end, but I didn't. I also thought I would have a lot less time during this run to talk. No. I thought I would have a lot less things to say because I was going to describe each level and the differences between each of them and their difficulty and their time, but I didn't have time to talk about any of the levels except for like the DLC. But anyways, yes, thank you and goodbye.